Humans have a long history of stacking heavy rocks on top of each other. For thousands of years, rulers have poured their wealth into monuments, pyramids, and statues, attempting to buy their way out of being forgotten. But geology always wins. As time passes, weather grinds down the hardest granite, and empires eventually collapse, reducing the most arrogant pillars of marble into scattered dust. This leaves us with a difficult calculation. If 5,000 tons of solid rock cannot protect a person's legacy, what actually can? The search for permanence in physical matter is a fundamental human error. To carry memory forward, we need a mechanism that isn't bound by the laws of friction and erosion. In the late 1500s, William Shakespeare lived in a city that had already burned and rebuilt itself multiple times. He understood that cities are temporary, and that even the most solid architecture eventually expires. When he sat down to write Sonnet 55, he proposed an alternative method for survival. This strategy abandons the heavy, expensive materials of the ancient world. It replaces quarried marble and gilded monuments with about a penny's worth of ink and a single sheet of paper. He engineered this specific sequence of words to function as a survival mechanism, built to carry his subject safely across the centuries. The first 4 lines establish the stakes. Shakespeare invokes the highest authorities, the princes and their gilded monuments, and immediately links them to sluttish time, highlighting the inevitable vulnerability of physical wealth. The word besmeared suggests a messy, slow degradation. It's the passive rot of history, the grime and dirt that eventually covers every physical object until it's unrecognizable. In the next 4 lines, the threat escalates. We move from the slow rot of time straight into the active violence of Mars, the god of war. Here, swords and fires root out masonry and overturn the work of builders. This creates 2 fronts of destruction. You have the quiet, passive decay of time eroding the gold, and the violent, sudden fires of war burning down the stone. By the 8th line, Shakespeare has systematically dismantled every physical method of preservation. He has cleared the stage for his actual hero to enter. Everything changes at line 9, the volta, where the poem pivots from ruin to aggressive preservation. Shakespeare introduces the living record, betting human memory is a more reliable storage drive than rock, surviving in the minds of future generations. He uses the phrase pace forth to give the written word a sense of motion. While statues stand still and wait to be knocked over, a poem moves forward, traveling from one reader to the next. The subject of the poem survives by abandoning the physical world and transferring their existence into the act of being read. The sonnet operates as a time capsule. It sits dormant on the page until a reader processes the words, at which point the memory is extracted and reactivated. To make this mechanism work, Shakespeare uses a specific literary device, juxtaposition. He contrasts the vocabulary of the physical world against the vocabulary of the verse. If we sort the poem's words into 2 distinct columns, the pattern is obvious. On the left, we have the heavy, static vocabulary of the physical world: marble, stone, masonry. On the right, we have the kinetic vocabulary of the poem: living, pace, arise. This creates a sense of downward pressure on the nouns of the physical world, while the verbs describing the text suggest upward motion. The contrast implies that the physical world is a weight, while the text is a living current. These choices are the structural engineering required for the poem to endure. The contrast itself helps the reader perceive the poem as the more alive of the 2. This brings us to the present day and the final realization of Sonnet 55. Because you are currently processing these words over 400 years after they were written, you are the proof that his thesis was correct. Paper is fragile, but it survives because it possesses the unique ability to colonize the minds of the living. History is full of these hidden survival mechanics. To keep decoding them with us, subscribe to The Explainer, and we'll see you in the next one.